Today, I'm going to be discussing the ambulatory workflow for the women's health clinics, mainly at KHSC and Perth Smiths Falls. These are true ambulatory clinics that where patients are coming into the hospital to visit their physicians. My name is Peg Jacqueline, and I'm the Women's Health Workflow Lead for the Lumio project. I'm going to now go off camera and share my screen and show you a demonstration of that ambulatory workflow. So currently I am logged in as a women's health physician. When you log in as a physician, you come to the ambulatory organizer, which will display your list of patients for the day. So if you, I'm logged in emulating Dr. Sophie Gibson for this demonstration. In order to find the physician or your name, you can just come here to this drop down. If you don't see your name, you can type in your name, make sure that the little box is ticked, and that will and click apply. And that will bring up your list of patients for your clinic today. You can move ahead and backwards. So if you were looking for a patient that you saw, for instance, on a different date, you can move forward that way, or you can go to the calendar and click the date that way to get to the proper date. So I'm going to show 3 different kinds of appointments today. The first one will be a new obstetric visit. Second one will be a follow-up obstetrics visit, and then the third type will be a gynae visit. All are similar in that they use the M pages. The M pages are slightly different for each of the different clinics. Once you've located your list and you're going to see your patient, you double click on the patient's name. You do need to assign a relationship. I'm just going to put consulting physician for this one and click OK. That will then bring you into the patient's chart. I actually have another patient's chart open there. That's why you see 2, but we're working on this new OB visit patient. The first thing that we need to do is to add a pregnancy when we see a new OB patient. This cloud component isn't currently working in the training domain. It will be working in the production domain when we go live. I will add a pregnancy this way, just so that we have it. Onset date. You can use a little calendar to set your date. I'm going to say November 2023. And then my method, I'm going to say ultrasound, and I'm going to say 8 weeks. And that ultrasound was done on. So that gives our patient an EDD of September 11. So we can say, okay. All of the women's health documentation must have a pregnancy added prior to being able to access any of the M pages in order to do your documentation. We're going to use the prenatal M page for our visit. Make sure we clicked on that. That will bring up all the components needed for prenatal visits. Again, anything that's erroring out in red is just that it's the train domain and it's not working properly. They will be working in the production domain. And I'm going to click on the prenatal visit component, and that brings prenatal visits to the top of the list. The little drop-down caret will give you a list of power forms that are in behind that we can access. So there's the antepartum intake, which we're going to use because this is a new visit. And we also have an OB prenatal visit ongoing. Then there's an OB office visit and an OB obstetrics exam. The antepartum intake and the OB prenatal visit ongoing can be used by the ambulatory nurse if there is one working in the clinic and they're doing blood pressures and things like that prior to the physician seeing the patient. I'm going to do them all as a physician today, but these two can be done by the nurse prior to the physician seeing them. So the antepartum intake form gives you vital signs, some general info. Let's move this over a little bit here. You can just slide this over so that you can see your depression screening is there. Further depression screening if you need it. Interpreters, there's OB special circumstances. I'm just going to go through and fill in a few things here just so that we can see how they fill out elsewhere in the documentation. And measured weight. And pre-pregnant weight, we'll say is 60 kilograms. So general info. And a lot of this stuff is nice to know. Does it all need to be filled in? So spontaneous conception we'll use. Again, all of these can be filled in. They do not need to be. Anything with an asterisk is mandatory, so it does need to be filled in. So this is an infection control screening that we need to fill in. And there's genetic information, domestic violence screening is there. Birth and newborn plans. So you can see that there's a variety of different things to fill in, physical exam as well. I'm going to go ahead and sign this now. What that does is creates a prenatal visit card for this visit, and you can see that the vital signs that I put in are there. If I were the nurse, I would only put that information in. Because I'm the physician, then I can go back in here and click on the chart button, which will make that form available for me to fill in. So if I'm doing fundal height, most of these are from a drop-down list, so you just need to click on the appropriate cervical exam. If you're doing urine dip, they can be documented here. These are a little difficult to read, but present per patient is the first one. So the patient's saying that they do feel baby move. And the heart rate. And then here you can add any comments. So the main thing to remember when you're filling this information in, it is in purple because it hasn't been signed. Once you sign it, it will turn black. So you sign by clicking on the green check mark. If patient is carrying twins, so this is for baby A, you can add a baby, fill in the movement, heart rate information for that baby. I'm going to go ahead and sign this form now. And you'll see it looks a little different. All the information is filled in black. The other thing as a physician, you can go ahead and do your med history, allergies, all of that as well when you have a prenatal visit. So I'm going to add an allergy over here. And we're going to click ASA. Severity is going to be moderate. So it is a drug. And it's an active allergy. And then we can just say save. That will save that allergy and it will show under the allergies column now, ASA. One thing to remember is when you're documenting in the system, you want to make sure you're refreshing your screen. That will pull in new information that's being documented. So if we look back here under documents, we can see that that antepartum intake form that we completed a few moments ago is listed here. If I click on that, it brings it up so that I can read the information. The other thing as a physician or as a provider that you'd want to do is a clinic note if necessary. You may be able to include anything that's pertinent on this visit card. If you need to document further, there is the obstetrics office clinic note. History of present illness. So it's a review of systems, anything you need to add here. You click on the little arrow, which you can then enter free text. Anything that's previously documented will show underneath the heading. So problem list is pregnant. My allergy should be there as an ASA as well. When you complete your note, you're going to sign and submit it. If you sign and submit, it's completed. If you save the note, then you can go back later and add to it. But by signing and submitting it, the only way you can add to it is by modifying the note later. So I'm just going to sign and submit and then sign it. Again, update, refresh the screen, and we should now see that that note is sitting under the documents as an office visit note. Again, we can click on that and to view what's there. There are OB-GYN outpatient orders. So if you're needing to order blood work or ultrasounds, things like that for your patient, we've created a list of the most commonly ordered antenatal types of things, so they can be found here very quickly and then ordered as needed. If you're looking for something that's not on the list, then you can just click on the new order entry button, search for your order and order it that way. So that's the OB-GYN outpatient orders. So that's the new patient visit. I'm actually going to go home now, which will take me out of this patient's chart and back to the ambulatory organizer, which is my home page. And I'm going to click on my other patient, which is the follow-up OBS patient. So now you'll see that this patient, the OBS follow-up, I've completed some information earlier on this patient. The OB office visit, the antepartum intake was completed, and an office visit card from earlier today. If it's a follow-up visit and you want to create a new pregnancy visit card, just adding a visit will bring up a new prenatal card for you to work on. I don't believe it will let me because, yeah, I've already done one for today, but just by adding that visit, you can do that. If I go back to, the prenatal visits tab, and use that drop down again. I could go to the OB prenatal visit ongoing, and that's going to give me just a quick summary of the things that I want to document. Just do a few little things here. No fluid leaking, no contractions, fetal movements present, and then signing that form. Again, if I update that and I go back to the documents, I now have 3. I have the OB prenatal visit ongoing for this visit. That's really the only thing that's different. You can add a new card and you can select that OB prenatal visit ongoing power form. Either the nurse or the provider can fill out those forms. And then if you've used your prenatal visit card and you still need more documentation, there are your different note types. Obstetrics office visit note. Again, you can use that to make a further note. The third visit we're going to look at is the gynae clinic visit. So I went home again, which took me back to my ambulatory organizer. The third patient is a new gynae patient. And with our prenatal visits, we use the prenatal M page. For our gynae clinic, we're going to use the gynae clinic M page, which I have available here. If you're not seeing prenatal patients, you can get rid of these M pages just by clicking on the X, which will get rid of it for you, anything that you don't want. Anything that you want to add back in, click on the plus sign. It will show you all of the different M page views, which you can bring back on view just by clicking. I'm going to go to the gynae clinic again. So I have the gynae clinic M page. And so chief complaint, we are going to enter and then we can sign that. Under the gynecology tab, there is a drop down. These are again showing us all of the gynae related power forms that can be used. We've tried to break them down into clinic locations. So we have the Lakeside Clinic intake form, the gynae REI intake form, Urogynae intake form, and just a general gynae visit intake form as well. So I'm going to use the gynae visit intake. Again, it has your vital signs on it like the other form did. Sorry. Vital signs, your interpreter, your infectious disease screening, menstrual history, contraception and hormone therapy, any STI information, community pharmacy, review of systems, and then a physical exam. So if you do your physical exam on the patient, it's just a quick click. Review of systems is very similar. Everything is negative. Let's look at the menstrual history. We're going to put postmenopausal bleeding because that's why we said, let's say. And then again, remembering that we need to sign this form. We're going to refresh again. And under the documents component, which is down here, you'll see that the gynae visit form is there that we completed. Again, all of these components that are on the M page can be personalized. If you come over to this little box, this little line here, and click on components. So these are all of the components that are listed on this left-hand side. If there's something that you don't want to see, if you just unclick it, it will take that information out of there. It just makes it a little bit less cluttered if that's what you want. The other thing that you can do with these components is to reorganize them. So if you want to, say, for instance, have your documents up near the top, you can just drag and drop that wherever you want it. They're all movable. So your orders profile, if you're going to be doing a lot of orders, can be moved up to the top, and then move the components that you're not using quite so frequently down at the bottom, so that they're not so cluttered. The other thing as well with this one, there is another office visit note. So there are a few different types. There's just a general office visit note, a gynae admission history and physical. There's a gynae consult note, a gynae procedure note. So that would be particularly for the Lakeside Clinic if you needed to do a procedure note, and also a gynae progress note, more so for inpatient gynae than outpatient gynae, but it is there if needed. So again, I would do my office visit note. And we're going to sign and submit that. And if we look under the Documents tab, which I moved to the top, we're only going to see one listed, but if I refresh my screen again, it will pull in that second note. So there's that second note showing there. And the menstrual history that we filled out on the intake form is showing there as well.